Does it ever seem like companies are colluding on price with each other? That's illegal, right? Well, technically it is, but there's really clever ways that companies get around this. Today on Startup Shutdown, we're going to teach you how price collusion works and why it's pretty much the textbook pricing play inside of most companies, small to large, even though they claim that they don't do it. Also, we're going to show you who's doing it, how they're doing it, and the clever mechanisms that have been created to secretly do so. And we're back with episode 2 of Startup Shutdown. After the first video on the top secret pricing strategy that Amazon, Google, Costco, Apple, Facebook, and so many other big companies are using, I got a lot of questions about how companies in copyable businesses who also have significant competition make any money. Well, that's a great question, and there's actually a very simple answer to that. Today, we're going to talk about the concept of price collusion or price fixing. Specifically, price fixing is an agreement, which can be written or verbal, between competitors on the same side of a market to buy or sell a product, service, commodity only at a fixed price. That is, they agree to do business only at a certain price level and not at any others. Now, not all price levels or changes that occur at the same time are the result of price fixing. On the contrary, they can and often result from normal market conditions, like natural fluctuations of commodity prices. However, in the US, price fixing is generally considered illegal and anti-competitive if there is an agreement between two competitors. This is quite fuzzy, as you can imagine. What is an agreement? Not everything's written down or spoken. And that wild ambiguity is exactly where the world of tacit collusion exists. In fact, I'd argue that tacit collusion and how to do it is one of the most important concepts taught by top business schools to their MBA students. It's not explicitly illegal, as there's not an explicit agreement. Instead, it's implicit. But it's one of the main ingredients that companies use to get out of a purely competitive world where profits get completely competed away. As a disclaimer, note, I'm not taking a stance on whether this is good or bad. That's a whole separate conversation. But rather, our objective today is to talk about what's going on so that you can see how this hidden world works. All right, let's take a simple example. Gas stations.
Gas stations?
Yes, gas stations. You're driving down the road and you realize, oh crap, I'm almost out of gas. Let's look for the next gas station. You then pull up to an intersection and there's two gas stations right across the street from each other. They exactly have the same price. Sounds familiar? It is, and it's not a coincidence. So, have the two gas station owners secretly met up at the local bar and agreed to set prices together? Well, maybe, but that would be an explicitly illegal agreement. That happens though. Instead, let's assume the best, and assume they didn't have a secret meeting in the night. But how did this happen then? It's simple. Let's take a look.
Let's suppose gas station A one day decided to raise its price. They then watched to see what gas station B did. Let's now put ourselves in the shoes of gas station B. You just saw gas station A raise their price. Your first reaction is, yeah, I'm gonna get all the customers because my price is lower. But is that true? Think of it this way. Why would gas station A raise their price, knowing that all the customers would then flock to their now cheaper competitor? They must be stupid, right? Nope. To see why, let's talk about two scenarios. Gas station B keeps their prices where they are, lower than A. Or gas station B raises their prices to match gas station A. Suppose they keep their prices low. Well, then all the customers flock to gas station B as expected. That means gas station A makes no money. Bad day. So, gas station A will be forced to lower their prices back down to where they started. That whole process of raising then lowering prices was a frivolous waste of time then. But suppose gas station B instead decides to raise its prices to match the higher price of gas station A. Interesting, right? They both are making more money now. So, what is gas station B going to choose from the two options? They're going to choose to follow the higher price lead of gas station A, as they're still going to split customers 50-50 between them. But they'd much rather be able to charge those customers a higher price.
And this is what's commonly referred to as a leader-follower tacit price collusion relationship. In fact, this happens so frequently and in so many industries that textbooks literally are written about it. Check out the link in the description below. All right, now no one likes to talk about this, but this isn't just relegated to the riveting world of gas stations. In fact, it's happening at the biggest companies in the world too. Think about it. How many companies are selling pretty much the same things, but still making significant money? A lot. Goldman Sachs sells the same financial products as Morgan Stanley. Verizon sells the same cell plans as AT&T. Dell sells the same computers as IBM. UPS sells the same shipping services as FedEx. Home Depot sells the same home improvement products as Lowe's, and the list goes on. If everyone is pretty much selling the same stuff with similar back-end costs, how is it that each of these companies are profitable in supposedly the most intensely competitive environment ever? Whether it's a price leader-follower relationship or another tacit collusion mechanism, everybody's doing it. And if you work at one of these companies and think you're not doing this, either your CEO is great at keeping secrets, or you're in for a really rough future. Either way, you're never going to hear about it. So we've covered the leader-follower relationship in gas stations, but there are a variety of other mechanisms by which companies can do this. First, one of my favorites is Best Buy's price match guarantee. It seems like it's friendly and full of butterflies and rainbows, but behind the scenes, it's a clever mechanism to disincentivize competitors from undercutting their prices. Think about it. What incentive would a competitor have to undercut Best Buy when Best Buy would just agree to match the other competitor's price? Everyone loses in that situation, so you'll just price to the same level as Best Buy. Effectively, they are setting price for the entire industry. Another interesting mechanism happens in hotels. Have you ever heard of the Smith Travel Research Report, or STR report? It's really just an anonymized report which hotels share their pricing, RevPAR, ADR, occupancy rates, and more metrics with. STR, or STAR, then aggregates this data and returns it to the hotels so they can benchmark themselves against their peers. In practice, this becomes a clever mechanism for everyone to price off of, so there's very little incentive to deviate downward from the average price levels. Similarly, compensation benchmarking, or bands, is a very strong price-fixing mechanism used by companies. Companies buy these bands from third-party companies and all set their comp levels off of these, quietly agreeing not to deviate. I'm sure you've heard someone say, well, that's all we can pay because those are the bands. Sounds like software engineering, banking, consulting, and pretty much every other job out there, right? Now, all these examples deal with businesses where there were a small number of large competitors. Seems like a coincidence. Nope. It's for a very good reason. That is, it's easier to coordinate these things when there are a small number of large competitors, or at least one 800-pound gorilla, a very large company, that everyone can look to. This also explains why when commoditized industries are more fragmented, that is, having more quantity of competitors, profits tend to be much lower. Usually what happens to fix that is you get a consolidation of the industry via companies either dying or getting purchased, resulting in our smaller quantity of larger competitors. Some great examples of this are the rise of waste management, XPO logistics, and even most of the banking industry. So, if you're an unprofitable business and want to make it profitable, just follow this tried and true recipe for success. 1. Consolidate the industry by buying competitors or waiting for them to die. 2. Establish a mechanism for tacit price collusion with the now fewer competitors. And 3. Make those bills. Notice that I never said to innovate anything. That upsets the balance. You only really need clever marketing and or data sharing. A wise man once said the following, and I quote, "That's who corporate America wants. People who seem like bold risk takers, but never actually do anything. Actually doing things gets you fired." And that's more spot on than most people like to admit. If you are inside a company that has already established a tacit collusion relationship with competitors, doing new and innovative things can and will upset that balance. So good luck. If you'd like more info, there's a great book called Introduction to Industrial Organization, which is linked in the description below. It literally goes through everything you need to know about pricing, competition, and all the economics behind all this stuff. I highly recommend it. It's a great book. Also, make sure to subscribe and hit the alert bell for notification on future videos. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button to let YouTube know we're making great content. And if there's anything you'd like to see us cover in future videos, make a suggestion in the comments section below.